So welcome everyone. My name is Olga Bloch, and today I'm going to be sharing with you helping kids deal with anger. I am a licensed clinical marriage and family therapist, which means that my job is to help people with relationships and with communications. I do have a private practice here in Rockville, but my passion is to help families connect. That is my life's mission. This is my dream, is to share information that help parents better understand how to connect with their kids, how to have better relationships, how to deepen their understanding of what's happening with their children. So the goal for today is to help you leave here with some very concrete tools as to how to better understand, deal, and manage with your kids' angers, and also your own, right? Because oftentimes our kids' anger trigger our own as well. So I will be using a lot of personal examples to kind of share my struggles with being a parent. I am a mom of 3 kids. I have a 13-year-old son, an 11-year-old son, and an 8-year-old daughter. So I'm in the trenches right along with you guys. Okay, so what are your beliefs about anger? Right, so anger is one of those emotions that has a lot of opinions and judgment around it, right? So oftentimes we believe that anger is bad, or that it's not nice to be angry, or that we're out of control, or sometimes we might think that our kids are mean, or that it shouldn't happen, or that we need to hide it or ignore it. So we have lots of different opinions about anger and how we deal with our anger and what happens when our kids become angry. So what are some of your opinions about anger and when your kids get angry? How do you kind of look at it? Anyone?
I did to my child. What I'm gonna do is, honestly, my girls, they have my girls have the temperature. So when I say something, just blow up.
She blows up.
So what I'm gonna do is, you know what I say, if you really is angry, drink hot water, whatever you're drinking, or you go in your room, and then when you come in after you come home, I can talk to you. Because she wants to yell, it's really.
So she gets very explosive. Right? So there's different kinds of anger, right? Like sometimes we have explosive anger, sometimes we kind of have like the low burning anger, sometimes we have like the I'm gonna say little comments to you anger, and then sometimes we have the kind of anger that like we'll ask our kids to do things and then they won't do them, right? Which is not an open anger, but it kind of like shows up underneath, right? So the first piece is to begin to look at that anger is not good or bad, it's just misguided communication, which basically means that kids have a really hard time putting into words how they feel and what their needs are. So they just either will explode or they will do things to begin to communicate their needs in other ways. So feelings, we're gonna do like a little piece here on talking about feelings, right, and how they work. Right, so what happens is that what we show on the outside is this piece, and how we feel on the inside is this piece. So it becomes our job to help kids identify the inside. But oftentimes what happens, especially with parenting, when you read a lot of parenting books or what to do, they address this piece, right? Like they address the behavior. How is it that you're going to control the behavior? The behavior is what's seen on the outside. But until we're able to get to what is on the inside, it doesn't change. So like if you notice, and this is true in any relationship, you can be in your marriage, or it can be with a coworker, or it can be with your siblings, or it can be with your kids. You have the same conversation over and over and over and over again. Why don't things change? Why do things stay the same? And it's because usually we just focus on what we see rather than going to what's happening underneath. And so what I hope that you get out of today's talk is how is it that you can access what's happening underneath rather than just focusing on what's happening up on top, right? Like this part right here is like, do your homework, Be nice to your siblings. Be responsible. Do what you're supposed to. Show up to school. That's all of this. What's happening in here, we don't know. That's why sometimes when kids become teenagers, all this stuff comes to the surface and parents are like, ah, how did this happen? Or where did this child come from, right? So here we go. So what's behind anger? The part of helping your kids deal with anger is to help them put words to how they feel. So sometimes what shows up as anger is frustration, right? Like they can't do something, or they try really hard, or they try with friends, or they try with their siblings, especially if they have younger siblings, that they have to be